A couple signed for a $180,000 campervan. 3 years later, they couldn't sell it without writing a $32,000 check out of pocket just to get out of the loan. They didn't miss a single payment. Their credit was fine. The van ran perfectly. None of that mattered because the financing structure they signed was designed to keep them trapped long after the van stopped being worth what they owed. That trap is more common in 2026 than most buyers realize, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to see it before you sign anything. Here's what we're covering: the specific financing structure dealers push hardest on campervans, why it's fundamentally different from financing a car, the depreciation math they never walk you through, and what smart buyers are doing instead. This applies whether you're buying new or used, whether you're in the US or Europe, and whether you're still researching or already in a dealer's office. The trap looks slightly different by market, but the mechanics are identical. Section 1. The trap. When you walk into a dealership or browse a campervan manufacturer's website, we're talking Class B vans like the Winnebago Travato, the Airstream Interstate, or the Pleasure-Way Plateau. You'll almost always see a monthly payment front and center, something like $1,299 a month or $899 with approved credit. That number is designed to make a $150,000 purchase feel like a subscription. And here's where it gets dangerous. Because campervan loans are classified similarly to RV loans, not auto loans, lenders routinely extend the term to 15, 20, even 25 years. Dealers push this hard because it shrinks the monthly number, which closes the sale. But stretching a depreciating asset over 20 years is one of the most expensive mistakes a buyer can make. Here's why. A standard Class B campervan, let's use the Winnebago Travato, which retails around $125,000 to $145,000 new, loses roughly 20 to 30% of its value in the first 2 years. By year 5, many buyers are looking at a vehicle worth 50 to 55 cents on the dollar compared to what they paid. That's consistent with NADA data and RV industry depreciation patterns for Class B vehicles. Now stack that against a 20-year loan at 8 to 10% interest, which is common for RV loans right now, and the math turns ugly fast. On a $130,000 campervan with $15,000 down, a 20-year loan at 8.9% gives you a monthly payment of around $1,020. That sounds manageable, but over 20 years, you'll pay over $245,000 total for a vehicle that may be worth $40,000 in year 10. That's not financing a vehicle, that's financing a liability with a kitchen in it. And wait until you see what happens if you try to get out of that loan in year 3. That's where the numbers become genuinely shocking. Section 2. Why this happens. To understand why this trap exists, you need to understand how a dealer makes money on your loan, because it's not what most buyers think. When a dealer arranges financing through a lender, a bank, credit union, or the manufacturer's own finance arm, they often receive what's called a dealer reserve. The lender tells the dealer, "We'll fund this loan at 7%. You can charge the customer up to 10%. Keep the spread." On a $130,000 loan, that spread can be worth several $1,000s to the dealer on top of their margin on the vehicle itself. So the dealer has a direct financial incentive to put you in the longest, highest rate loan you'll accept. This isn't hidden in fine print. It's just how indirect RV lending works. The reason most buyers don't catch it is because the entire conversation is structured around monthly payment, not total cost, not loan-to-value ratio, not what happens if you need to exit in year 3. In Europe, the structure is slightly different. PCP finance, personal contract purchase, is common for campervans, particularly van conversions. PCP can look attractive because payments are lower and there's a balloon at the end. But the trap is similar. You never build meaningful equity during the contract. The balloon is set by the finance company, not an independent appraiser, and the guaranteed future value is calculated to protect the lender's exposure, not yours. Different market, same mechanic. Make the monthly number look small, obscure the total cost, and keep the buyer focused on getting into the vehicle, rather than understanding what they've agreed to. Before we go any further, Pull out your phone calculator right now. Take your dream van's price, subtract your down payment, multiply your monthly payment by the number of months in the loan term. That final number, the total you'll actually pay, is the number dealers hope you never calculate before you sign. Most buyers see it for the first time when they're already locked in. Keep that number in your head as we go through the rest of this. Section 3. The depreciation and interest double hit. Here's the part that most buyers only understand too late. With a car, depreciation and financing are painful, but the damage is contained because auto loans are typically 4 to 6 years. You finish paying before the vehicle falls off the steepest part of the depreciation curve. With a campervan on a 15 to 20-year loan, you're still making payments long after the vehicle's market value has collapsed, and for the first several years of a long-term loan, the majority of each payment is going to interest, not principal. That's standard amortization. You're essentially treading water against depreciation, while the lender collects interest on the full original balance. The result is what the industry calls being upside down, owing more than the vehicle is worth. On a 20-year campervan loan, many buyers are upside down for the first 8 to 10 years. Why does that matter practically? Because life happens. One retired couple financed a luxury Sprinter conversion for 15 years because the payment looked manageable. 8 months later, a health issue changed their plans. The van sat in a storage facility while the payments kept coming. When they tried to sell, the buyout figure from the lender was $28,000 more than any buyer would pay. They had 3 options: absorb the loss, keep paying for a van they couldn't use, or default. None of those are options you want to be choosing from. That's the trap, not the monthly payment, the exit. Section 4. The controversial take. Here's the opinion that's going to get pushback, but I'm going to say it clearly. For most buyers, financing a brand new Class B campervan at full retail in 2026 is not a financially sound decision, no matter what interest rate you're offered. Not because campervans aren't worth owning, they can be, but because the depreciation curve on new units is steep enough that you're paying a significant premium just for the privilege of being first, and the financing layer compounds that into something that takes years to recover from. Now let's look at what the math actually looks like side by side. Buyer A goes new, $180,000 Airstream Interstate, 20-year loan, $20,000 down. Monthly payment around $1,340. Total paid over the loan over $320,000. Van's likely market value at year 7, somewhere around $70,000 to $85,000. They're still deeply upside down. Buyer B buys used, a 2022 Airstream Interstate 24X that retailed at around $170,000, same vehicle essentially, available in 2026 for around $110,000 to $120,000, depending on condition and mileage. 7-year loan, 20% down at a credit union rate, monthly payment around $1,300, total paid around $109,000, and by year 4, they're likely at or near equity. Same monthly payment, completely different financial outcome. The difference is entirely in the structure and the entry point, not the van itself. The buyers who consistently come out ahead do one of 3 things. They buy used 2 to 4 years old, they finance short at 5 to 7 years maximum, or they finance a small fraction of the purchase at 40 to 50% loan to value, so depreciation can't trap them on exit. If you can't do at least one of those 3 things, the math is working against you from day 1.
Section 5. What smart buyers do instead.
So what does a smarter approach actually look like in practice? First, get pre-approved before you set foot in any dealership or contact any seller. Go directly to a credit union, not a bank, not the manufacturer's finance arm. Credit unions consistently offer lower RV loan rates than dealer-arranged financing, and they have no dealer reserve incentive pushing you toward longer terms. In the current rate environment, the spread between credit union and dealer-arranged RV loans has frequently been 2 to 4 percentage points. On a $130,000 loan over 10 years, that difference is not trivial. Second, reframe the entire conversation around total cost, not monthly payment. Run the amortization yourself. Free calculators online will show you principal versus interest breakdown month by month. Look at how much you'll owe versus the van's likely market value at years 3, 5, and 7. If those lines don't cross within the first half of your loan term, renegotiate the structure. Third, take the used market seriously, especially right now. The 2021 and 2022 campervan boom inflated prices significantly. Those vans are now hitting the secondary market with real depreciation already absorbed. A 2022 Pleasure-Way Plateau TS or a 2021 Airstream Interstate 24X that retailed at $160,000 to $175,000 can be found at meaningfully lower prices in 2026. You're getting a depreciation discount that no new buyer will ever see. Fourth, specifically for European buyers, if you're being offered PCP on a campervan or conversion, request the guaranteed future value calculation in writing and get an independent valuation before accepting the balloon figure. That number is not neutral. It's set by the finance company's risk model, and it protects their exposure, not yours. Section 6. Who should and shouldn't finance? Let me be direct about who this math actually works for and who it doesn't. If you're buying new, taking a short-term loan, putting at least 20% down, and you have a realistic plan to own the van for 7 to 10 years or more, the numbers become defensible. You're paying a new vehicle premium, but you're not compounding it with a long-term loan, and you have enough planned use to justify the cost. If you're a retiree or couple planning to use the van full-time or close to it for several years, the economics shift in your favor because cost per day of actual use starts to offset the depreciation and financing cost. The more the van gets used, the less painful the math becomes. But if you're buying new, taking a 15 or 20-year loan, putting less than 15% down, and you're uncertain how long you'll actually own it, you are exactly who the dealer financing model is built around, and you will pay more for that van than it was ever worth. The market has also shifted in 2026. Prices have softened from their 2021 to 2023 highs. Inventory is up. That gives buyers more negotiating room than they've had in years, but only if they come in with their financing already arranged and their total cost already calculated. The buyers getting the best deals right now are the ones who've done the math before the conversation starts. Here's where I land. Clearly, my rule is simple. If you need a 15 or 20-year loan to afford a campervan, you don't own the dream. The payment does. And that's exactly how people turn what should be freedom into financial regret that follows them for a decade. The monthly payment conversation is a distraction. The term length is the real trap. And the depreciation curve on new campervans is steep enough that a long loan doesn't just cost you money, it takes away your ability to change your mind. The smarter path is a shorter loan, a larger down payment, or a used vehicle where someone else has already absorbed the hit. And if none of those three options are available to you right now, that's genuinely useful information. It means the timing or the vehicle isn't right yet, regardless of how reasonable that monthly number looks. Buying a campervan should feel like a smart decision 5 years from now, not just a good feeling on signing day. I want to know where you actually stand on this. Would you ever sign a 20-year campervan loan? Or should they not exist at all? I'm genuinely curious where people land because the comments on this one are going to be interesting. Drop it below. And if you know someone who's currently shopping for a campervan and hasn't run the total cost number yet, send this to them before they signed anything.